Hello friends, welcome back. We are learning functions, right? In this class, I would like to talk about functions in terms of math. Functions are really useful. Let us take, if you want to move enemies in some pattern or in some path, then functions are one of the good applications of that, I can say. One of the good example, I can say. Let us take, you want to move an object or a enemy in some specific path. Okay, let us take, you want to move in this direction. If it moves, if it reaches to this position, and it should return back to this position and move back and forth. This is one pattern. Or maybe you want to rotate or move an object in a circular fashion. It will be moving like this. Or maybe you want to move an object in a specific path, something like this. Maybe you want to move an object something like this, some specific path. Maybe you want to move an object in some specific path, it will be moving always. So functions are really useful in these situations, like where, let us take an AI, artificial intelligence. There what we do means we decide some specific pattern for enemies, and the enemies will be moving in that pattern, okay, or in some path, you can say. Let us take, you have some few enemies, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 enemies are there, and let us take this enemy is going to move in this order. This enemy will move in this order, and this enemy will move straight, or maybe this enemy will move something like this, maybe like this. Maybe this enemy will move something like this. So you want to create some patterns of movement of enemies or any objects. You can use functions. Functions are really useful, guys. We will understand anyhow, step by step. You will get a lot of idea about methods, how they are useful. Now let's come back to this. Now functions in terms of math, let us understand little bit definition of function. A function is a mapping from a set A to set B, where set A is known as a domain, set B is known as a range, such that with every element in set A, the function associates exactly one element in set B. We represent in this way. There is a set A and there is a set B, and you will be having a function of A. What it does means it maps every element in A, associates to exactly one element in the set B. What is a set? Set is a collection of elements, collection of distinct elements, we say. Distinct means no repeatable, collection of elements. Now how do you store a collection of elements? We use arrays, right? Arrays are collection of similar kind of elements, we know that. How do we represent functions in math? Okay, notations. Usually we write something like this: f of x equal to 2, f of x equal to x, f of x is equal to x square. I hope you have worked with functions, right? There is some meaning to these functions. They are very, very useful stuffs which are used in games. Now let us take f of x is equal to x. I want to represent in a graph, or I want to know how an enemy or an object moves if I use this function f of x equal to x. When you have f of x equal to x, now you will be writing a code for this one. You are going to write a code something like this. You are going to create your own function which returns an integer, and the function name is f, and it takes one parameter which is going to be an integer x. This is our function, f of x function, f of x function. And what it is going to do means it is going to return x back to us. So this function, okay, mathematical function, we have written in terms of a code. What is f of x is going to return us? F of x means actually y, the value of y. Now let us take an example for this. Let us if I have to represent f of x equal to x on a graph, how do we represent? Let us see here. What we do, first we create a table, right? Now this is x and here we have f of x. First we put x values. We can decide x values according to our requirement. 0, 1, 2, 3. We write the x values. Then we take f of x. What f of x is going to return if x equal to 0? If you pass here x 0, it is going to return the same x back, right? So we get 0 here. Then if you call f of x with 1, it is going to return 1 back. So we are going to write here 1. If f of x, if x is equal to 2, if you call the function with f of 2, if you are calling this function with f of 2, what it is going to return? It is going, 2 will be copied to x, right? 2 will be returned back. So we are going to get 2. If x is equal to 3, what is f of x? F of x equal to 3. And f of x is actually y value. Now how do we represent that in a graph? Means we will be having a coordinate system here, you can see x and y. Then what we do? We check the values. If x is equal to 0, f of x is 0. So we plot a point, right? Cross mark here. If x is equal to 1, y is equal to 1. We plot a point over here. If x is equal to 2, y is 2. So we plot a point over here. If x is equal to 3, y is equal to 3. We plot a point over here, right? Then we draw a straight line, right? We connect them. Now what is actually the meaning of this? Let us take a player or an enemy will be having definitely a property called as x position and y position. What will be the x and y? First time, if you assign x and y values from here, so first time x will be 0, y will be 0. X is 0, y is 0, means the object will be standing over here. Next time x will be 1, y will be 1. So x will be 1, y will be 1. Now what happens here? The object moves to this place. Object will get displayed over here. Next time x will be 2, y will be 2. So object will be visible over here. Next time x will be 3, y will be 3. So object will be over here. Are you understanding? We are moving our enemy upward like this. It is moving one step right, one step up. One step right, one step up. One step right, one step up. That is f of x is equal to x represents. If you want to move object in this fashion, you will be using the function f of x equal to x. Let us write this code, and how do we write the code? How do you represent this one? We will see that in Unity now. Now what I do, I create a function int, and the function name is f, and it takes an integer value x, and what it does, it returns back x. It returns us x value. So this indicates f of x equal to x. Then what I do, let us take, I create the domain. I am going to create a domain which is a set A. So what I do here, I create a domain, an integer array, and its name is, let us take x. Yeah, no problem. X is equal to, now let us put the values inside it, 0, 1, 2, 3. This is our domain. We have the domain ready. We have this side. We have decided the x array. We have the values. Now we are going to call f of x function to get the y values. So I can create another array called as integer array, which is going to be y is equal to 0, 0, 0, 0. Now we have all the values filled 0 for the y array. Now I have to loop through, because I have to pass this 0, 1, 2, 3 to f function to get the result, right? So I create a for loop. For I is equal to 0, I is less than x dot length, that is our domain array. Then what I do here, y of I is equal to f of x of I. I pass each element one by one to the f of x function and it fills the array, then I can debug.log display y. I can display both, right? I can display here string.format. I can display the x value and I can display the y value. So x of I comma y of I, bracket close, bracket close. Now this is a very useful part. Now we are going to get here y values and we have x values. Later what we can do means, here we can apply these x and y values to our enemy or a player so that they can start moving. Let us move and understand this part. If I run the code, I should get the result here 00112233. Let us save and come back to Unity. Okay guys, you can see that we got x equal to 0, y equal to 0, x equal to 1, y equal to 1, x equal to 2, y equal to 2, x equal to 3, y equal to 3. Now these values I can plot on the graph or apply these values to the player or enemy to move in that direction. I hope you guys understood how do we convert a mathematical function to code and how it is useful in creating some patterns or movement of objects. Now let us understand this code step by step. Okay, let me put a breakpoint over here and attach the debugger and run the code. What we have here, please see. First, I am going to create x array and y array, and let us check it out. In the locals, we have x array filled with 0, 1, 2, 3, that is our domain, and y is filled with all 0, that is our range, and we need to calculate the y values based on the x values. So what we are doing here, we are looping through f of x array and assigning values to y array. For int I is equal to 0, s 0, 0 is less than length is 4, right? X dot length is 4, 0 is less than 4 is true, so control comes inside. Now what we are doing, y of 0 is equal to f of x of 0. X of 0 is what? 0, that we are passing to the function f. We are going to call this function f now. So when I call this function, you can see x is now assigned the value 0. And what is going to return back? It is going to return back 0 over here. This place 0 is going to come, and that 0 we are going to assign to y of 0. So y of 0 is going to become 0. You can see we come back and you should see now y of 0 is 0, x of 0 is 0, no problem. And when I execute this, it will just display x of 0. Now x will be this x of 0 0 and y of 0 0 will be displayed on the screen. After that it goes to I plus plus, I is going to become 1, 1 is less than 4 is true, so it comes inside. Then this time we are calling the function f and I value is what? 1. So x of 1 is 1, so 1 will be passed to the function f, and you can see x is now 1 and 1 will be returned back to this place. So this place is going to replace by 1 and 1 will be assigned to y of 1. Now at present, if I come back, it will assign the y of 1 is 1. You can see that y of 1 is 1. These two are still zeros because we have not calculated them. So we execute this and it has displayed the result on the screen 1 and 1. Next I is going to become 2. 2 is less than 4 is true, it comes inside, and here y of 2 should be function or f of x of 2. What is x of 2? Is 2. So 2 we are passing to the function, it takes 2 there and returns back 2, that will be applied to y of 2. And y of 2, if you see, it is 2 and x of 2 is 2. So it displays on the screen 2 comma 2. And this time I is going to become 2 3 is less than 4 is true, so it comes inside. This time we are passing x of 3. X of 3 is 3. 3 we are passing to the function, so x is going to become 3. It returns back 3, and that will be applied to y of 3. Y of 3 is going to become 3 now. Goes over there and comes back. You can see that it has become 3. Then I execute this. We have displayed 3, 3 on the screen. Then I is going to become now 4. 4 is less than 4 is false. It comes out. So this is how we convert a mathematical function into the code and find out the range domain we will decide, and the range will be calculated by creating a function. And this function is known as a linear function, which takes x and returns back x. Now what I want to discuss is, I hope you guys have clearly understood, and you will understand step by step how the functions are useful and how do we write code for them, and how we can create different paths for the enemies or objects which will be always moving in that pattern. Control H, delete. Let me talk about few generic functions which you most commonly find, which are we most commonly use, you can say. Let me write here graphs of functions. So here we are going to discuss about graphs of functions. Few generic graphs I am talking here. You know already, I think so, if you worked in math, okay, definitely you will be having this idea. Okay, let us take this is our coordinate system, x and y. If you have these graphs in your mind, later let us take you want to move enemies in different way, then you can use these formulas. If you want to move horizontally or just vertically, you will be using a function called as a constant function. Constant. Okay, this is a constant function. How do we represent? Means f of x is equal to some constant. Okay, C indicates constant. Okay. Let us take you want to move the object in a diagonal way, maybe like this or maybe like this. Such functions are called as linear functions. Linear function. We represent them as f of x is equal to x. Just now we have seen this function and we converted to code also. Okay, this is how it looks, f of x equal to x if you plot on the graph. Then another function we have is quadratic functions. Quadratic functions, which is actually we say f of x is equal to square of x. That is, square of x means x square. Okay, x square. X square function graph looks something like this. It looks something like this. You can check these things if you are free at home. Just as I told, you need to create a table and find out the range values for different values. You will find the graph looks something like this, f of x equal to x square. Then we have a cubic function. Cubic, which we say f of x is equal to cube of x, means x cube. F of x equal to x cube. So how the graph will look for that? The graph for x cube is going to look something like this. Then let us take absolute. Absolute is a graph. So we say f of x is equal to absolute of x. That gives us absolute of x back, right? Math f dot absolute has a function, you know that, right? We have seen absolute means what. Now how the graph of that looks, if you plot, means it looks something like this. this is the absolute function. Please remember these graphs because they are very useful later to make objects move in specific order. Let us take, you want to move objects, few objects towards left upward, few objects move towards right upward. Maybe you want to make a flame. You can use the square function. Okay. Let us move on and understand next functions. You have a square root function. f of x is equal to sqrt, square root of x. So square root of x function, if you draw its graph, it looks something like this. f of x is equal to sine of x or sine theta, right? I think you know the graph for this one. The graph, if you draw, it looks something like this. Let us take another function. f of x is equal to cos of x. If you are drawing f of x equal to cos of x, then the graph will look something like this. Okay, if you want to move an object horizontally or vertically, you can use a constant. If you want to move object in a diagonal way, you can use f of x. If you want to move an object in this fashion, you can use square of x, you can use cubic of x. Even you can combine the functions. I'm just showing you the different graphs of functions. You can remember those functions. Okay. Even you can create functions. You can say, if you have got, if you know, let us take h of x is equal to, you can use f of x plus g of x. You can add two functions and get another function which might behave a little bit different. Maybe you want to move the object maybe in different way. Let us take, you want to move an object, maybe you want to move an object something like this, something like this. You can have a function. Okay, you just need to add different functions to get the result. Let us take an example that you want to move an object something like this. Okay, you want to move an object something like this, then you want to move something like this, and you might be interested to move an object something like this. Then you can see, if you see this graph, it little bit looks like this is a sine function plus a constant function plus an absolute function, right? Absolute function. I'm just showing you, I have taken this sine function over here, then I have taken the constant function from here to here, then I have taken a absolute function from here to here, right? So you can move the objects in different patterns using the functions. If you say f of x, that is sine of x plus a constant plus the absolute of x, might give you this type of result which you can apply to y value later. I hope you guys have understood graphs of functions. Please try more functions by yourself, and remember these generic functions which we most commonly see. And in further classes we are going to learn about these functions. How do you manipulate these functions? How do you plot these functions and apply that to the enemy or game objects? Okay, that is about graphs of functions. I want you people to please check out, learn more about graphs. And I hope you guys have clearly understood how do we convert a mathematical function to code. Let us take, you want to do f of x square, then you just need to say here x into x. This will give you f of x square. If I save and come back to Unity, clear this, and if I run the code, you can see that for 0 you got 0, for 1 you got 1, for 2 you got 4, for 3 you got 9, right? 2 square is equal to 4, 3 square is equal to 9. So for this class, this much is enough guys. Thank you very much. See you in the next tutorial. Let's learn a little bit more. Keep learning.